After applying power, I wait until I wait with my finger over the F2 button, because I know that that's the way I begin access to the BIOS when the computer is ready for that. I have to actually wait for it to tell me that it's ready for me to press that button, because during the power on sequence it's probing for a lot of things in the hardware. It's going through a rather complicated process of detecting disk drives and keyboard and display and mouse and USB port initialization. And this particular computer takes a long time because it's got 20 USB ports and a lot of peripherals connected. So I'm just waiting with my finger over this F2 button. When I see the splash screen right there, I press F2. And now it'll detect that I've done that and brings up the BIOS. The BIOS is controlled only through the keyboard. It's not yet smart enough to read my mouse. The computer doesn't know enough to understand things like Microsoft Windows or anything. So I use the keyboard buttons. Now notice along the top here, there's a menu, a drop-down menu with headings: Main, Advanced. I'm moving to the right by clicking right button. Security, click. Power, click. Boot. I've moved over to boot. The bootstrap part of this menu is what's interesting to us right now. And now that I've moved horizontally to the bootstrap part of the menu, I can move up and down with the up and down arrow buttons like this. This list has a lot of interesting things on it, and some of these things really are going to require our attention. For example, it says USB boot is disabled. I've selected that with my arrow keys and I'm pressing enter. I'm going to enable USB boot to allow the possibility of bootstrapping from USB devices. That's not all. I notice down here a little farther it says boot USB devices first. In general, I do want to be able to do that. If I plug in a USB flash drive or a USB hard disk drive or a USB CD drive, I wanted to see that and use it in preference to the internal hard disk drive, so I want to enable that too. I've selected it, I'm pressing enter, and I'm going to go down here to enable. So now I've enabled USB booting and booting USB devices first. Having done all that, now I can look at the devices in my computer. Notice up here where it says boot drive order, and it'll first boot from the hard disk drive. I've got a MacStore hard disk drive deep inside my computer, and that's my first disk drive, or my first boot device. I don't like that. I want it to see my DVD drive first if it's there. So if I insert a DVD into the drive, I want it to see and use it. So I'm going to change that order. I'm going to say I'm going to hit enter, having highlighted that, and I'm going to now highlight the DVD RAM or DVD drive. Notice it's the second one in the list, and I'm prompted here in the lower right that if I press the plus key, it'll move it up in the list. So I'm pressing the plus button on my keyboard, and that changed the order, so the first thing it'll check is my DVD drive, and then only if there's no DVD present with an operating system on it will it default to the hard disk drive. Next I'm prompted to press enter. Let's see. Enter brings me back to the menu I was using before, and now I get out of the BIOS in the usual way by pressing F10. Notice I'm prompted here, it says F10 save and exit. When I press F10, the changes I've made will be saved in permanent memory inside the computer's motherboard, and it'll then begin the bootstrap sequence again, having been configured to prefer booting from a DVD first and the hard drive second. So I've made that change. If I had a USB device connected into one of these USB ports, it would have seen that and offered it as an option. So in the future, when I boot from USB devices, we'll see those and we can put them on the list also. For now I'm done. I'm going to press F10, save and exit, whereupon it asks exit saving changes. I'm going to type Y for yes. It says Y/N. I can press yes or no. If I'm sure what I'm doing, and I am, I'm pressing Y. It immediately saves those changes in the BIOS memory, and it'll then begin a reboot process. Within a minute or two, it'll boot up, find that I don't have a CD or DVD inserted, and boot from the hard drive anyway. That's what we wanted at this point. I'm just ready to insert a CD drive or a USB device should I so choose in the future. Now, a lot of computers are permanently set up that way. That's a very commonplace setup, but you need to make sure yours is, or you're going to be frustrated whenever you attempt to boot from a CD, DVD, or USB device.
We are very pleased that so many people are finding our content on YouTube. However, if you're using only YouTube to explore these clips, you're missing out on a lot of the best information. Please join us at AskMrWizard.com, where you'll find this clip, all of the related clips easily located, along with related text, illustrations, and advertisements from vendors that sell related equipment. You'll also find forums where you can ask and receive answers to your questions. Your support at our site keeps us going, and we appreciate it. Thanks.